doubt that, okay, you have done the Mangala Charan to the real self, which is supreme self, also there is no difference. Because anything I know through the mind is a matter. So any god and goddesses that my mind becomes aware is not more than a matter. Okay? Seeker says, I agree with you. That's clear. But tell me something about this real self, supreme self. What are its attributes and how to understand? So the second topic focuses on what exactly is the real self. Means how the mind can define it. But now this master and every master says if we have to define that existence, that God, that consciousness, that supreme self, that real self, it should be foolproof. No one should raise any doubt. And even if they raise the doubt, we should be able to dissolve it. Why? Not because of the proving that we are right, but because the mind should not have any doubt about it. Because the moment it has a doubt, it will live in ignorance. Doubt means the knowledge sleeps. So the second topic focuses on what is this consciousness? We what is this? We worship God and goddesses. Can we really define? Not only we define, but we refine. Not only we refine, but we reinforce to the mind that you are living in ignorance. Because when the mind recognizes that I am living in ignorance, it will take steps to change its perception. So it means we must know the characteristics. Whether you say characteristics, I'm using different words so carefully. Characteristics or attribute of the real self. So this is the response and the question again from the seeker. When the seeker says you are glorifying yourself, that I'm simply remembering I'm the supreme consciousness. So then he also raises the doubt. But before that, we remember the binary format. There are only two things in the entire universe. One is matter and other is
Real self.
consciousness. Other is
Conscious.
consciousness. Two I thought, we already covered. Two I thought. One we negate that the mind creates through the reflected consciousness, moonlight, and the world. We negate the way we negate the mirage water to recognize what is the basis of mirage water. The way we negate the waves to know the basis of the waves. So this master says what exactly is the ultimate cause and the ultimate basis of anything and everything is the supreme consciousness. So the mind and the intellect lives into the dual format. So that realization of the real self and the supreme self are one is the end of the suffering. That is the goal of the entire Eastern wisdom. That is the goal of all the masters. So, if there is a goal, then what is the subject matter? The subject matter is who am I? What is the world? And what is the existence or the God? So, we have already created a triangular format. So, the master is saying that who you are and what is the existence are the same. The word is just the matter. Because we keep living in the triangular format, it causes the ignorance, and the ignorance causes the suffering. Then you see the problem is outside. I am here, God is there. So I pray the God here to reach, to dissolve the problems so that I come back again to myself. What kind of an ignorance you are living? What kind of an ignorance? That's quite interesting. He is asking that where your problem lies. The problem lies in your head. You are not finding a solution. You see the problem is outside, you see the God is outside, and the God will take care of the problem, and I will live a happy life. How it is possible? When you have recognized that you have a problem. So that is why Mangalacharan almost you can say is based on the fourfold connection that I am a qualified seeker, there is a subject matter, and that subject matter it has a result. So he is discussing about a general format. He says that Anubandh Chatustaya is very general for the highest seeker, and it is specific for the middle level of a seeker. He is not talking about the lowest level of a seeker. The lowest level of a seeker will raise unnecessary doubt, questions, and we will be out of the topic. Out of the topic means, simple. Yesterday I was giving a session, so this guy, he was stressing on emptiness and nothingness. I said, I agree with you. Tell me how do I experience nothingness and experience? There is some entity after all who says, I see the nothingness, I experience the nothingness. So who recognizes the nothingness is I. He said, no, no, no. The experience or what the mind knows is one with the knower. I said, very good. Then I am conscious of the donkey. I know the donkey. Then I and the donkey are one. The way I and the emptiness are one. So simple. But this conclusion opposes my daily experience. I know you, you are separate from me. There is a knower in the know. Why don't we understand this? So where is the problem? I'm talking to you. I did not talk to him because I thought it's not relevant. That is how we remove the ignorance and we remove the impurities of the mind. Pay attention at a very subtler level. There is a like, there is a preference, and I have a prejudice that emptiness is everything. Why? It is because the Buddha said this. Then you are not a qualified seeker. You are not open. You still have the impurities of the mind. You still have the strong likes for the emptiness. And you want to prove everything on that. And then you prove yourself that you are wrong. That is why our master says the impurities of the mind will never allow you to realize the real self. It's a very common, we are just discussing, we are debating, but from inside, if the likes and dislike comes, the mind sticks to its own habit, its own conviction, and then we stop that self-discovery. I didn't say this. I said that's okay. That's a part of the. But I answered that if I and the donkey are the same, then I am opposing my experiences. I am opposing the knowledge. I am opposing my intellect. I am opposing my understanding. And I am opposing the entire Eastern wisdom. I am also opposing that Eastern wisdom does not have a right to exist. And that is why I am not a qualified seeker. No, I know everything is energy and I drop the entire physics. It will not work. One type of instrument of knowledge gives me one type of knowledge. I go to the physics class and I say, forget about everything, the branch of the science that is physics. I will teach you a new physics. It will not work. It will not work. So, a non seeker does not recognize this subtler level of understanding. They are caught by the likes and dislikes, they are caught by the preferences. Now, Buddha is everything. Others says Krishna is everything. Very good, my friend. Do you see Krishna is all pervading? Yes. Do you see the Buddha is all pervading? Yes. So, are there two all pervading in the one universe, or there is only one? You reach to a binary form. So, those people who have the impurities of the mind, strong likes and dislikes, they create such a division. So, likes and dislike creates a division, division creates a conflict and the confusion. After the confusion, we start living in a delusion. It creates a cult, dogma, belief, and religion. We are not talking of dogma, belief, and religion. Mangala Charan in 11 topics. We come back. Auspiciousness. Mangala Charan is auspiciousness. So there is an objective way that there is a God outside me. So I seek his or her blessing and the grace to live my life, to find the real self. Or if they are not different from me, then I simply remember self-remembering. We have a couple of verses of self-remembering that we will go there later. So namaste, prayer, is a matter of convenience that we do namaste to each other. We are living in this material world, but because that material world has a basis, its base is only the Supreme Consciousness. And if the base is there, so I only need to remember, recall in the mind, here is one consciousness Only one appears many. So outside I do namaste, outside I should offer all the activities as the society is offering, but with a remembrance of that ultimate cause. So this raises the question, what is this ultimate? You are talking of supreme consciousness, you are talking of real self. What is this? The what are the characteristics of this supreme self? So this master from the Upanishad has collected the 8 characteristics of the real self. Happiness, eternal, self-luminous, all-pervading, basis of the name and the form, knower of the intellect, 100% pure, permeating everywhere. We are going to take up each one. So this master silently raises a question. That is so wonderful. He says that definition should not have any defect. Before, we are still coming to the happiness. What exactly is this happiness? But before he says there should not be any defect in any definition. When I'm pointing here is the real self, it should not point to anything else. What do you mean? Two-legged animal species are human beings. It justifies. No, but it's a loose definition. Why it is a loose definition? All birds are also two-legged animals. No, we want a perfect definition by the imperfect mind. One of them is Satchidanand. Satchidanand divides into 8 characteristics. That is what he is explaining. Oh, it should not be loose definition. He gives an example, beautiful example. He says that you have a shirt that is very loose, it does not fit. You have a shirt very tight that does not fit. So our definition should not be too loose, should not be too tight. There is still one more defect is there. So you offer me a shirt made for the girls. Impossibility. So similarly, our definition should not be too loose, too tight, and it should not give me an understanding that it is not applicable here. So if it is not applicable here and you are still offering me that definition, so mind will create the doubt, confusion, impurity. So I should be very careful. So this master is very careful, even though it comes from the same Upanishad. So first is it should not be too loose. It should not be too tight. It should not be, it should be applicable. That is what the master is talking about. So we will keep in mind these three defects, and we will remove these three defects from any word that we speak about the real self. So the master, look at this, master says that first let me remove the defects. You understand what are the defects. So once you understand the defects, so you keep in your mind, if there is any defect, raise a question. And if there is no defect, accept it. There should not be impossibility. It should not be too loose. It should not too loose means that it includes other thing also, except the real self.
Yeah, I understand.
Understand? So yes, so we are, and this is what the journey of the self-inquiry. Why we want to know the characteristics? I want to know the characteristics of myself. That's another point. The mind understands by the thought. Thought must contain the words, and the words which should be precise. So this master says that it is not only we have to define, we have to refine, and we have to reinforce in our mind this is what it is. We have defined. So we have defined in 8 characteristics, but then we need a refinement in that definition. So the 8 characteristics are explained by this master in 7 pairs. First and second, second and third, third and the fourth, fourth and the fifth, fifth and the sixth, sixth and the seventh, seventh and the eighth. So 8 characteristics in 7 pairs makes a perfect combination, removes all the 3 defects. And he explains that. He explains that. He explains that what are these three defects, and that are removed by today's 15 years. So we will understand each and every. So I'm just looking at the first attribute of the Supreme Self and the real Self. We say Ananda. But Ananda here he says permanent happiness. First attribute is, we can simply say happiness. So when we say the real self is happiness, the mind says forget about it. I get happiness by eating pasta, eating chicken, wearing clothes, driving a car. Don't talk about it. I already know what is happiness. Let us add the word permanent happiness, nityam. So by car, clothes, pasta, I get a temporary happiness, and here the happiness, there is a continuity. Permanent happiness. So we remove the loose definition, looseness. We get happiness from so many things. I sit comfortably, that also gives me happiness. So the real self is like sitting comfortably. No, it continues. You start walking, working. That also gives the happiness. Oh, by eating pasta gives me happiness. No, after that the happiness continues. There is a continuity, permanent nature. And it also removes the tightness of that happiness. What is the tightness of happiness? As long as I eat pasta, I get happiness. The moment the pasta is gone, happiness is gone. The master answers why we are working on these characteristics in the next topic. Oh, so that is why you say it is a permanent happiness. So it means I should live my life with a awareness all the time. While eating pasta, I feel happiness. I have stopped eating pasta, happiness should continue. That is the way to self remember, to remove the defects created by the mind due to the impurity, due to the preference, due to the like and dislikes. So I live in mindfulness all the time. I live in mindfulness, meditation all the time. Oh, so the seeker says, I'm clear that when I eat pasta, I get a pleasure, and I also am aware that it is a temporary pleasure, temporary happiness. And I also know now, because I am a seeker, I know the happiness is not located in the pasta. It comes definitely from deep inside me, but it drops. The happiness drops after finishing eating the pasta. It is because my mind has projected happiness there. So I'm living consciously in every thought, in every speech, in every action. So what we did, we not only defined, but we refined that definition. We reinforced the definition to the mind. So when I refine and reinforce the definition, the mind moves into a higher level of awareness. Mind moves into the higher level of awareness. Do I need to practice? No. My every activity is a practice. My every thought is a practice. My every understanding is a practice. First attribute of the Supreme Self, Nityam Sukham. So we added the two things. Nityam, permanent, happiness. Seeker raises the doubt that you have never thought of. So it means what? It is making the mind more and more aware. So there are a group of people who say the real self is take the example of a science. Science says consciousness is a product of matter. That is why they are searching where is the location of the consciousness in the brain. They did it thousands of years ago in the Upanishad. Only the highest level of a seeker is ready to listen to this. All attributes of the matter. What are the attributes of the matter according to the science? Pleasure, pain, attachment, sin, merit and demerit, including consciousness. All attributes are changing, so consciousness is also changing. So someone asks the science, prove it. Come on, we have a temporary consciousness in a waking state. There is no consciousness in deep sleep. Until today, the science believes this. The moment you have an attribute of happiness by eating pasta, you have an attribute of consciousness, which is present in a waking state, which is not present in a waking state, which is not present in a sleep state. The way the happiness is temporary, consciousness is temporary. And you are talking of permanent happiness. So the highest level of a seeker does not conclude but wait for an answer from the Eastern wisdom, is not in a hurry. So this objection, this question is solved by the other attributes. He says, no, no, this is only the first pair, permanent happiness. So then he creates another pair. He says, Nityam, definitely it is permanent, but it is self luminous. So what is self luminous cannot go away. Are you getting it? Self luminous is self evident. It is sun. It is not the moon. You are giving real self a label of moonlight. No, it's not moonlight, it's the sunlight. Metaphor, example, the sun always gives the light. We say there is a morning sun, evening sun, sun rises in the east, sun sets in the west, but the sun is always there. Sun never sets. Because of the position of the earth and the sun, it changes the direction. We say it is a night, it is a day. So that is the nature of the real self. Consciousness is always there. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot be removed.
It's meaning of permanent. Everything what is permanent have sign of real self.
Sign of the real self. So you see that how this master removes in the second attribute, second pair, it says it is permanent, self-luminous. So we have to also understand what do you mean by this self-luminous. If it is self-luminous, then it is not affected by the time. It is not affected by the location. It is not affected by any object of name in the form. We are doing a self-inquiry. It started with Mangalacharan. Should be covered in 11 topics. And the Mangalacharan is purely subjective. I have to remember I am conscious. I already know I am the real self. That is the greatest prayer. That is the greatest worship. That is the greatest meditation. But not consciousness with you. Not the consciousness with an object. Not the consciousness with the name and the form. Not the consciousness in time. Not the consciousness with reference to location. Then only it becomes a self-luminous. Oh my goodness, look at it. Think, contemplate. We have to constantly think and contemplate. I look at the door. I look. Plus door. Door is name and form. I look is consciousness. I listen to you. To you, delete. Name in the form. I look. I cannot look without being conscious. I cannot listen without being conscious. So if without being conscious, then the consciousness is always there. Who recognizes that I had a good sleep? It means there was something present during the sleep. Mind was not present. That's okay. Mind cannot give the expression. That is okay. We can understand that. But who sends me? Who gives the mind a message? It means the consciousness was present there. Mind was not. We agree with it. So if you say that the consciousness is also changing like pain and pleasure, likes and dislikes, you are wrong. That is why we give the second attribute, Nityam Swaprakasham, permanent illuminator, self-luminous. It is an illuminator. It is a knower. That knower can never become the known. We have already covered. That is why I gave those lessons. The consciousness is that knower which cannot become the known. Sense organ is a knower to the world and it becomes known to the mind. The mind is a knower of the sense organ. The senses cannot know the mind, but the mind knows the sense organ, and there is something behind the mind that knows the mind. So mind becomes the known. But that witness consciousness is the cannot become the known. Make it known. Give me examples. Tell me. So if it is not, it cannot become the known. It is a self-illuminator. That consciousness never sleeps, never dies, never breaks up, never divided, not confused. It has nothing to do with the likes and dislikes. That is why we say the second pair, permanent illuminator. Swaprakasham. Okay, permanent illuminator, you said this is okay. Permanent illuminator, but the sun is also permanent illuminator. If you say self-illuminator, self-effulgent is the real self, then we have loose definition because of the lamp. Lamp is also the self-illuminator. Sun are also the self-effulgent. There again the science comes. Science says many philosophers, consciousness is an attribute of the real self, which is matter. So that is why they have a theory, they have a philosophy, they have an understanding that consciousness is the product of a matter. The science is still looking for the seat of consciousness in different areas of the brain. There are two groups of the scientists. One group says hypothalamus, the other says no, at the back. Seat of the consciousness. They are not clear. They have divergent views, they have an opposing views. And they want to prove it falsely that consciousness is generated only in a waking state. In sleep, there is no consciousness. It is only generated when I am a waking state. So we have removed all the defects, loose, tight, and impossibility. Impossibility we removed. What we removed? That who knows that I had a good sleep. Mind was not there, but there was an impression in the mind deposited. When I return into the waking state, I say I had a good sleep. That I is consciousness. That I cannot be the mind also. I will take up later, but I just want to give you a brief, and I don't want to talk to that seeker who is attached to Buddha. When you are attached to the Buddha or Krishna or any master, that master says, now you are not a seeker. One sect of Buddhism, I'm just giving a brief understanding and then we will go deeper when that topic comes. So, here one sect of Buddhism says, you are right. Consciousness is sleeping, it will die, and it is replaced by a new consciousness when you wake up. And that is why they talk about momentary consciousness. They talk about momentary, every time you wake up from the sleep, there is another consciousness. It is such a loose definition in Buddhism. That is the beauty of the Eastern wisdom. It has taken up all the objections and it has solved. So our master says, you are right. Yesterday and today the body is replaced by millions of cells. Mind is replaced by millions of thoughts. So you are looking consciousness like as if it is the body and the mind. It is changing from moment to moment, and that is why you are saying the consciousness is changing, and it lives from a moment to moment. And if it is living from moment to moment, then there is no question of the real self. When there is no question of the real self, then everything is void and everything is emptiness. So when you reach to the state of emptiness, that is what they call a freedom. They are right to a certain extent. I'm leaving that. So now we see it's a loose definition. Limitation in sun is a self-luminous or a consciousness of the Buddha. So we declare in Buddhism that the consciousness is constantly changing. We say it is all pervading, but still it is changing.
But if you change, then it means that can be two or three or many consciousness.
Then it is many consciousness, but the consciousness is one; it cannot be divided.
Yeah.
So you see that the clarity is there. Masters are not imposing anything to us. It says, no, listen, learn, listen and learn. So what we have done is the first pair we have seen sukham nityam, happiness permanent. So happiness is a general definition. That is what we talk about. Happiness is our essential nature. But those who become the seeker, they have to be taught. No, it is permanent. Why it is permanent? So by Viveka, I have already deleted. Where is temporary? Finished. So I am in a new level of awareness. No, there is some problem. So we take the nityam. You see, happiness permanent. Now we have taken the permanent from the first pair, and then we say permanent self-luminous. So we have deleted this moonlight. We have deleted even the sun. Now we have taken the self-luminous. Self-luminous, vyapakam. We say it is not a many consciousnesses, but that is vyapakam. That is present everywhere. Come on. That is present everywhere. You cannot divide it. The moment you divide, moment you have many consciousnesses, then it means everything is changing in the world. Nothing to hold for it. Very good. So, because it is present everywhere, but I see you are present there and I am present here. You are present in one country and I am present in other country. No. What you are talking about, name in the form. Consciousness is one. It is superimposed. Superimpose name in the form Michael, superimpose name in the form husband, superimpose name in the form wife, and the parents, and the people, and the mountains, and that vyapakam, Sanskrit word is vyapakam. Oh, you are saying that. How do you say that? Mountain exists because of existence. I exist because of existence. I am not an existence with reference to the body, breath, mind, intellect, ego. They are constantly changing. Oh, you're talking of that consciousness which exists. Do we express in our daily life? Yes. Michael is. That is his existence. You remove is. You simply say Michael, mountain, and you don't add is. You don't recognize it. Mountain is, river is, you are, or you is. That is the existence.
But existence, we exist because this we can.
I exist. I'm referring to the body, mind, intellect, behavior, thought, personality, which is changing. What is the basis? The basis of my name in the form. That is consciousness. It is everywhere. At the same time, we say it is the basis of the name and the form. First word is general now. In the previous definition, self luminous, present everywhere. Present everywhere becomes specific. But now we made present everywhere general. And what we made the specific definition? Oh, it is the basis of the name and the form. Who recognizes the name and the form? The mind. Whether it is a mountain, whether it is a person, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a location, where anything. Any name and the form. Oh, it's the basis of the name and the form. Basis. So name and the form is recognized by the mind or the intellect. Basis of the name and the form is recognized by the name and the form. Basis, you see, we have done what we have done, the name and the form. Now, what is the next one comes? The basis of the name and the form, make it general. Make it general. And then what is specific? Let me pull out this book also, and then it will be better. So, name and the form, because I have to stick to his teaching, otherwise, anything that I miss.
Not existence, not exist.
Swaprakasham. First, Swaprakasham, self-luminous, Vyapakam. Vyapakam is already done. Nam, Roop, Adhisthana, basis of all the name and the form. And yes, so the basis of the name and the form, we can use the next part of it. It is known by the knower. The intellect does not know it. The intellect knows name and the form, but it does not know the real self. Or we can say it is the knower of the intellect. That is the proper understanding. It is the knower of the intellect. The intellect does not know the know. No, but the intellect, intellect has an impurity. It has lots of likes and dislikes, preferences. The intellect moves with the preferences and the likes and dislikes. Now we are talking of that intellect which is totally free from the impurity. That is the qualified intellect, knows the real self. It is free from intellect, but at the same time, it is free from the impurity. The last pair is aparam. It is not limited like the intellect. When the intellect removes all the impurities of the mind or the intellect itself, then what is left is aparam. Aparam word Sanskrit means all pervading, present everywhere. Present everywhere. Let us pick up all the 8 pairs. First pair, happiness, simple happiness. So the master is saying, don't stand there. Don't keep the definition loose. So he also recommends when you are teaching from my text, he specifically mentions that's a beauty. When you are teaching from my text, you have to explain them. What exactly is happiness? What causes the happiness? Is that happiness permanent or temporary? So you have to remove all the objections that is present in the mind of a seeker, to be very clear. So that is why you say happiness permanent.
But
Now, yeah.
everything what is permanent is sign of real self. Why you say only happiness?
Yeah. That is why the master says you start with the happiness, because every seeker knows what the happiness is, and
Mhm.
from there you clarify, filter out everything, and then you say it is permanent. Otherwise, people will get confused. He specifically mentions that is the beauty. He says, you have understood, you have read all my text, you have reached at that state, now teach. So he specifically guides that this is the way to teach, so that the people will not get confused. So that is why he created the pairs. He created the pairs. So he says Sukham, happiness, Nityam, permanent. Then he picks up the Nityam. Oh, Nityam, Nityam, there are many things. No, no, Nityam is there, but at the same time, self luminous, self evident.
Self-luminous, it means that it have not any cause. It exists without cause.
It
Yeah,
exists by itself.
by
It exists
itself.
by itself.
And self-permanent, it means that it's everywhere and
It's
always.
everywhere. Yes, you're getting it. I love it. And then he says, no. So self luminous, now self luminous. So self luminous means because it is everywhere, it is permanent. So we use the word vyapakam, all pervading. It is
All
not like
pervading.
sun. No, no, sun gives the light at one time on one part of the earth and darkness on the other part of the earth. No, no, not like this. Not like this. So when it is everywhere, all pervading, and why we say all pervading? Because everywhere we see the objects of the word, name and the form. No, it is the basis of the name and the form. Behind that name and the form, it is there. Not only it is there, not only it is permanent, it is also self-luminous. It is the knower. Self-luminous also, you can say it's the knower of everything. My goodness, it's a knower of everything. Knower of everything. So let me understand. Hold on. It is the knower of the intellect. The intellect does not know the knower. Look at it. Look at the way he foolproof definition. The intellect cannot object. You cannot have any doubt if you start thinking of it, contemplating and reflecting. What do you mean? Yes, it is the basis of the name and the form. So let use the intellect to find out. No, it is the knower of the intellect. The intellect cannot be the knower. Oh, intellect can be to the knower. So again, you are giving me a loose definition. No, no, we will make it perfect. Aparam, it is beyond intellect.
Intellect is limited, so
Intellect
he
is
cannot
limited.
perceive unlimited.
Intellect is limited. It is beyond intellect. Look at the 8 characteristics in 7 pairs. This master says that at least we can get the information in direct knowledge from the teacher, and this should be made the direct knowledge that is the end of the journey. But this cannot be the end of journey. because the intellect has trillions and trillions of impressions, and these impressions return again with a doubt, with a lot of objections, with a lot of objections. So now, yes, lot of objections, that is very clear. We have to go and look and contemplate again and again and again and again. So when we contemplate again and again, in the next, I'm just giving you an idea, think of it. So he answers in the topic number 3, first chapter. He says, what is my intention of defining, refining, and reinforcing what is consciousness, what is real self, and what is supreme? So he is answering, he is removing the doubt. Oh, you have started with Mangalacharan and now you are asking me to understand this also. So he answers very clearly. So think of that, what he answers, or what the benefit is hidden in understanding these 8 characteristics of the real self. And if he does not explain it, why the mind will continue to live in ignorance? He answers that question also. He says, no worries, I will answer everything. So that third topic, only it's a small topic, it gives you a couple of benefits, it tells you why I have explained, and then we move into the fourth question. Fourth is a question by a seeker, that is also a very short topic, and the answer by the master is also a very short topic. So the fourth, fifth, and the sixth is the question by the seeker, seventh is the answer, eighth is the question by a seeker, ninth is the answer, 10th is the question by the seeker, 11th is the answer. I'm just giving you a frame how this master starts. He has taken up all the questions. He lived hardly 200 years ago. He has taken up questions from all the masters. Present, Buddhism, Jainism, indirectly the different religions, to remove your doubt and confusion also. He directly hits our intellect. Why you go and worship any god, goddesses? What is the need of it? Are you not living in ignorance? Is consciousness not with you? Is the consciousness present in the temple and the church? You consciously approach there. So you are consciousness. Why don't you bring that name in the form in you? So many people, even Shankaracharya, Buddhism, Buddha was known as non-believer in God. It's wrong. It's wrong. It has nothing to do with non-believer in God. But we use this, and if I'm a staunch believer of Buddha, we say, I don't go to the church, I don't go to the temple. That's why you are crazy. What changes you have in your life? Whether you go there or you don't go there, that is more important. That is more important. Did you change yourself? No. Then there is no fun being a theist or a believer or a non-believer. And that is why Buddha hinted, don't believe, because I said so, unless you inquire, unless you live into that state. He again said, know thyself. He indirectly hinted that real self has the 8 characteristics. I leave you only on emptiness to reveal the knowledge. And emptiness simply means you are a witness of that emptiness. So your mind is not focused on the objects of the world. So we make it a total.
Full emptiness not possible because we're part of existence.
We are
Full
part of
emptiness
existence.
not exist, but we part of existence. So what is not existence is not available for us.
Is not available. Yeah, yes, that's a beautiful way to put it. That is the beauty of this journey. We will take up next questions